Well, good morning. Welcome to Lockbox Lunatics. Today is Halloween. Do you love that little jump there, Steve?
I do. It gave me a little bit. I
Well,
was waiting. It was like a scary movie. It gave me like a little jump, and so it is Halloween, right? So
it
we
is
do want to
Halloween.
talk about scary things.
Yeah, most definitely. So, but hey, thanks for joining. I know we're coming fresh off last week, a special guest. Today, no special guest except for our good buddy Steve over here, Mr. Lambert out of Washington,
And my
and
good
Chad
buddy
up here in
Chad,
the center.
and my good buddy Chad down there
That's right.
in AZ, man. We are our own special guests today. I like
We
that.
are. We are. So, in light of today being Halloween, I don't see a costume on you. Where are you going to be going as you got any plans for tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a
Or,
minion.
pardon me?
I'm gonna be a minion, and
Which one, Kevin?
probably. I mean, I don't know. I know there's different minions. I'm just going as as a minion in general. I'll probably have to dial it in as I get like the actual outfit on.
You
I
have to
do
get
know
a
that.
character to determine that later
Uh-huh.
on.
Yeah, I know that I like bananas. I know that's a
Oh,
big deal with minions. Banana, banana, banana. I have to say. So I'm just gonna carry a banana. I know I'm gonna have a banana. I'm gonna carry around. I probably should be better versed on my character that I'm going to be, but for now it's just a minion.
just a minion.
How about
Okay.
you?
I think I'm going to be a disenfranchised deer hunter. I'll
That's
be
probably it's pretty common this time of year.
It is going to be, I think, because I think I'll be returning from a week long of chasing deer in southern Arizona. I'll be returning on the 31st. So whether I'll be returning a victor or one thing I've said about my hunting career is animals have never been safer than when I'm in the woods with a gun.
So you're pro animal population expansion.
Yes, I'm there to make
Probably
sure
a way better way of saying that,
I'm
but
there to make sure that they're continuing to propagate and, overeat, you know,
do all the things.
do
They're
all the
like,
things that
God's
they
here.
do.
We're fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's, for our theme of Halloween here, we were kind of playing around with this and we were talking about the tricks and treats in real estate, right? Like kind of the the treats of real estate and the tricks of real estate and maybe the scary things that happen in real estate. We see a lot of interesting things throughout the year in real estate and in our careers. And so um, let's start with the treats. I think that's a good way to. Everybody likes a treat, and I have some candy corn, but it's sitting across the desk for me. I don't want to eat it all, but I do have some candy corn. Those are kind of fun. I like those. My favorite is 100 grand. I like that's my favorite candy bar.
Hmm.
But what are some of the treats in real estate that you like to see? What are some treats for you in real estate?
The treat for me is a seller that says, "Sure, Chad, that's exactly where I'll list the property."
That's sorry, I'm laughing so hard because for those of you that are not in the business would understand when that is so rare. That is so rare that that yeah, that's like winning the lottery.
It
Have
is.
that's awesome. It's one of the things that it's such a treat because we get often, we're asked to come in as experts. You're an expert, you're really good at what you do. You sell a lot of homes. We want to work with you. We trust you and we know you're going to market our home well, but we're not going to listen to you at all when you give us a price recommendation.
Yeah.
So,
And I get that because you're so vested in and you saw that the neighbor's house 2 streets over was on the market for, especially in this market, 20,000 more. They have no clue what it sold for. They know that it was on the market for some time, and so I get the frustration on their part because let's be honest, when I sell a house, I try and maximize my sales price as well,
100%.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you can't hold them at fault for that. But from an agent perspective, that is a treat that I look forward to because it happens about once a year, kind of like Halloween, right? Where I'll where I'll have a seller say, you know what, Chad, you've provided all this information on where the market is. You provide all this information with regards to current market, with your market barometer, so on and so forth. Yes, you're the expert. Let's go ahead and list where do you want to list.
Oh
So
man, yeah. See, that would be a huge treat. You know what? You know what? I actually, I'm kind of rethinking my Halloween costume now.
Okay.
I think that I think I could be a like a title and escrow person, and I could go to a Halloween party that's full of realtors, and I could tell them I could just walk around and say, hey, yeah, I'm calling you. I'm with title and escrow. We're closing early. That's a treat. Like that
That
right there. I mean, you know what? Everybody in the room is going to be happy. Guess what? We're
you
closing early.
you're the most popular person in the room at that point.
100%. Just a little suit and tie, just cruise around, maybe some glasses, and just sit there and be like, "Yes, I'm calling you from escrow, title and escrow. We are closing on your file a day early."
Right. That
That's
that's
nice. That's nice.
that's definitely a treat because you don't hear that often. It's the same as a lender, right? Because a lot of times the lender controls that with when they get the loan documents around.
Hmm.
So in retrospect and looking back, another treat that we see in the real estate spectrum in the real estate world is buyers that show up on time for showings.
Ooh, that's a treat.
That's a treat.
That is
Actually,
a treat.
that happens more often than not. So it's just nice that whenever you got buyers that take, are considerate of your time and they
Yes.
take that into consideration. Now, not in hindsight, but looking back, my mother was a typical realtor. Okay, she was always late to everything. So I'm the type where I need to be on time. I'm not a 5 minutes before is on time. My on time was on time.
Right. Yeah.
On the dot. But yeah, she was always running late. And so whenever I first got licensed and started working with her, it just drove me nuts. I'm like, Mom, they're gonna be sitting there waiting. We're gonna be 5, 10 minutes late. Oh, they'll wait for me. They can't get in the house because I've got the keys.
I mean, and that's a valid point, but there are realtor minutes versus real world minutes, and they're different at times.
They are. They
They,
are.
they are. Sometimes our minutes are way shorter, and sometimes they're way longer.
Yes.
Some of the things, some of the scarier things, some of the tricks that we see, some of the tricks that for this Halloween theme is in the you're 4 days, 2, 3 days out from closing, and you
Yeah.
get a call from the lender. Got some news for you. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer decided it was a great time to go pick up a new truck. And you're just dying. You're like, oh gosh. And you call the buyers and they tell you what your clients sit there and go, oh, I thought it was okay. I mean, we're only a couple days from closing. They're not going to check now. They check all the way up to closing. I can't tell you how many lenders check on the day of closing. They pull one more time.
Yep.
That is one of the biggest tricks, right? That's not a trick that we like to have.
Yeah, that carpet pull is pretty nasty. I've had that happen, unfortunately. And they say, well, because in Arizona, the contract is written in such a way that the loan docs are supposed to be the title 3 days prior to closing,
Mhm.
right? So I had a buyer, the lender did a fantastic job. Buyer shows up to title, signs. We got 3 days to closing. Buyer signed, they're thinking it's a done deal. Despite me saying, okay, now don't go do anything crazy. Wait until you actually got the keys to the house before you go do anything. And what do they do? Exactly that. They go trade their car in. I didn't think it was gonna be a problem because that loan's paid off now, and the new loan I've got is less. It's like, well, no, it's still gonna impact your credit rating, and
Yes.
your credit score was just enough to get you a loan.
Right? And now
No.
it's pushing us under.
And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I've had deals get torpedoed. Not very often, but I've had a couple of them go south in where just that was the end of it. You're not getting a house now, and it's pretty brutal for everybody involved. Getting back on the treat side of it though, so for I know Chad hasn't said a lot about this but for the people that are tuning in, this is something you need to know. So his daughter actually makes
uh,
treats, like literal amazing treats, right? So I think I we got to give her a plug here, Chad, because she's done some pretty groundbreaking stuff. So I have some friends that have bakeries and things like that, and run restaurants and things like that, and they come up with designs and all that. But Chad and I were recently having a conversation, and he was saying, "Hey, so she picked up a 3D printer so she can get super creative with her designs of different cookies and things now." And rely on just her brain and not having to go buy these forms or things from somebody else and make what everybody else is making. So explain more to us about this, Chad, and how do we get her treats?
So a shout out to her. Her name's Savannah Camp, Kamp. Her business is Bake Me Crazy, and crazy's with a K.
I love it.
Bake Me Crazy, and she bakes crazy good cookies. Okay, so that's her tagline. She's
I
also
love it.
in the wedding cakes. But yeah, so we're in the farmers market season in Arizona. Temperatures have cooled down below 100. It's been gorgeous out. We had a little bit of rain last week. And so temperature, 70s or 80s. So farmers markets are a big thing right now. So we sat at a farmers market. She's had a farmers market the last 2 weekends at this point. But yeah, so she'll come try and come up with some creative design that's going to be different that no one's going to see. So we sat at a farmer's market in Apache Junction next to a rodeo grounds. And so she had a bunch of little cow heads, right? Some had flowers, some did not. She did a couple Holstein looking cows, or cookies, black and white. I forget. And then also in advance of Halloween, so she had some, ghosts. She had some Mickey looking, cookies. So she's been selling those. But yeah, so she buys this 3D printer so she can create cookies and very easily, quickly. I won't say quickly because she literally spends 10, 15 minutes per cookie whenever she starts designing them and starts,
Yeah.
decorating them. And she's very meticulous with it. But so she's got this 3D printer. I was helping her the other day. I think she printed 5 different designs. And so then at that point in time, it was a guessing game. Hey, what's this design for, right? And so we would make a game of it.
Yeah.
One of them, one of them, I'm like, is this like Jack from Jack in the Box? No, Dad, that's an ice cream cone. Oh, okay.
That's cool though. It's neat to see that she's able to do that and offering something that other people aren't really doing because she can make her designs like spur of the moment and just go for it. So that's awesome, especially like I said, when we're in this season of treats, there's a lot of so be sure when you check out like comments and links in on this video, check her page out. Pretty amazing stuff. I've had a chance to see some of it. Chad, he's shared some pictures and photos with me and things like that. I'll tell you folks, it's some pretty amazing stuff. And so, all the way up here in Washington, we're going to be ordering some for some of our clients for the holidays and all that. So make sure you get on and check that out. It's one of our treats for this holiday season. So,
Well, and the bad part about it is they taste as good as they look.
so are you saying that's why she's always short on inventory is because it's not getting is it when you come by?
I can neither confirm nor deny. My
Okay.
attorneys advise me to stay silent on that matter. We're still in litigation. Yeah, no, I'm
I'll
the
tell you,
tip.
before we started, he was wiping the crumbs off. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but from a treat perspective, in real estate, that does go right along with it, right? We do open houses, we do closing gifts, and sometimes, cookies do find their way in closing gifts and things of that nature, right? So anyway, as far as you're concerned, are you doing anything special or is anyone in your office doing anything special from a closing gift perspective? From it,
Yes, as a matter of fact. So we actually got together recently, a couple weeks back, and we put together with the help of AI, we actually had it design some fun little GIF tags and things like that. Everybody put together little baskets and just little, or bags, I should say, with just little candies and treats and just a little note in there to say, hey, we appreciate you. These are for our current clients and our past clients. And just went out, did little pop buys and just said, hey, it's the season for, you know, I can't remember all the little sayings, but we had little bats, some of them, and little tombstones. And they had fun little sayings on them, right? Just to kind of remind people that, hey, we're out there and there's a lot of reasons why people buy and sell and all that. But yeah, so we did that as a brokerage just to kind of do something fun for our clients to kind of get them into the Halloween spirit, if you will. So that was pretty fun. It was well received, and a lot of people look at that and say, oh, it's a lot of work and everything. But when we put that under treats, I think it's a lot of times you and I joke about some of the crazy things we come across in real estate and the stressors that are involved in it and all that. And I think, people that are involved in the business and not involved in the business, that it is a stressful thing being in real estate at times. But it's truly a treat. We get to help people do some pretty cool stuff on a regular basis, and there's a lot that goes into it. And I wouldn't really have it any other way because I love the ability to kind of put the puzzle together, and even in a deal, you're going to have tricks and treats, right? In the deal.
right?
Um, but I love doing it. You know what I mean? And I love seeing the reaction of our clients when we're able to accomplish that a goal that they've set forth, whether that be just buying, selling, or investing. They're looking for different things. And when we can help them accomplish that goal, and it's maybe something they didn't think that they would be able to pull off or achieve, that's a great feeling, right? And that's one of the great treats about being in the business that we're in. And so, I love that side of it. So that's something that I think, we sometimes take for granted, but it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. And I think it's important that we as agents that we give more treats than tricks to our clients,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And part of that process of giving treats is, putting their interest in front of your own, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of times where things will come up and, um, either personal activities, or even just, hey, look, I just want to get the sale, and we
Mhm.
have to make sure that we're really protecting our interest. Case in point, just this last week, I guess I had an investor reach out and say, hey, Chad, you sent me some properties. This one looks very intriguing. I ran the numbers, and this will set your bells off, Steve. I ran the numbers and the cap rate was 12.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay. So immediately, what's your first thought when you see a 12% cap rate, especially today?
How fast can we buy it, or what's wrong with it?
Exactly.
Two sides to
Two sides to the
that.
exactly. So and that was a conversation I had. I said, look, from a cash flow perspective, this is a phenomenal opportunity. I haven't seen anything I haven't seen anything in double digits in at least
What's
5 years.
wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
Where's the hidden,
Yeah.
where's the trick? Where's the trick?
Exactly. Where's the trick? And we found the trick. That was the treat I gave that client is we researched and found what that trick was. We threw an offer out because I'm like, okay, let's at least secure this so we can get into some sort of so we can at least start doing our inspection period and do some due diligence.
Yeah.
So we got that out right away, and I came to find out it was a townhome. They were advertising it as conventional and cash is the options. And my question was, why won't FHA loan on this? Because I called the
Right.
agent. I'm like, why isn't FHA an option as well?
Sure.
And so he danced around that subject, and so we reached out to the HOA, found out that the HOA had just changed hands 3 months ago. And the prior HOA, surprisingly enough, my personal stories about HOAs that I'm fighting
Yeah.
personally with right now was that company.
Oh no.
And
Okay.
looking at the financials, zero reserves.
Oh boy. Yeah.
There were there were 17 homeowners that haven't paid dues in forever.
Wow.
The common areas were just were run down. So when we did a drive by the unit was occupied, but we did a drive by the unit. It's like, well, HOA is not really doing a good job taking care of it. And so just further research, the HOA is rebuilding because they have zero reserves, they have zero insurance.
Wow.
The prior company let their insurance lapse. So I had a conversation with that buyer the day or two after we submitted the offer. And it's like, hey, look, there's a lot of risk here with this HOA. I foresee special assessments coming down the pike.
Big time.
Right. And so you might want to hold off and maybe look at this development later. The return might not be 12, but if we can get it, in even the 8, 9 range, right?
Still really good.
It's still
And
a
for a
really good
lot and
return.
for our viewers and people that don't know what a cap rate is, basically we look at cap rates when we work with investors, both in commercial as well as on the residential investment side, for instance, with townhomes or something like that, or even a portfolio of homes. And essentially that's what's the return I'm getting on my investment, right? And there's a formula that we go through to find that. Typically, right now, commercial cap rates are anywhere from the 4 to 5.5% based upon what's happening in the marketplace. So when you see something that jumps out to you, and the residential, I'd say, is like 6 to 7, 5.5, 6.5, somewhere in there. If you get into the eights and nines, like Chad was mentioning, that's a great spot to be. So 12 automatically piques your curiosity, but there's generally a caveat with that. And then in this case, like Chad, like you uncovered, they're looking to get out. So they're dangling this 12% because they want to get the heck out of there before those special assessments. Because depending on those assessments and how big they are, that could very easily knock that down to a 3 or a 4, cap rate, in which case now that investor has a lot of other opportunities and other things they can look at if they're looking at a 3 or a 4% return. They could maybe say, hey, I'm going to hold off on that. So that's great that you were able to jump in and see that. Like you said, that was your treat to that client, is being able to help them avoid
Right.
potentially a really bad investment. Like you said, if it ends up being an 8 or a 9, they're in great shape. And so that's something that you pointed out. I love how you did that. Let's secure the property. Let's get into our due diligence. And depending on how long that due diligence is, gives you a chance to sit down with the HOA and say what special assessments are coming down the line, rerun the cap rate or the numbers, figure out your new cap rate, and say, hey, even with the special assessments coming down the line, you're going to be at a 7, 8 cap rate. All right, cool. Let's do this, right? You're making an educated decision, right? And so
Right.
you threw a little, you had some tricks thrown at you, and you had some treats thrown at you. So that's an interesting one.
Well,
But
yeah,
yeah,
and
it's
there
I
again, it's
think,
important that that we treat our clients, right, because they remember that, right?
yeah.
The funny thing is whenever we were reviewing the property with her, I sat down first thing in the morning with her and was on the phone. She's like, Chad, I've never heard you this excited about a property. And I said, you know how long it's been since I've seen a double-digit cap rate?
Right? Yeah. Yeah. When
Yeah,
I do a lot of I do a lot of the larger commercial deals, and when I see that, the first thing I look at is generally tells me the building's about to be vacated by its major tenant, right? And or
right.
so they're offering it because or it's on a land lease or something. Something's getting ready to reset within the next 24 months or so. Something big is happening, and I just need to figure out what it is, because that's somebody trying to say, I'm trying to get out of this investment super fast so I can just get my cash out. It's been a cash cow for me. I'm good. I need to run and go into something else, right?
Yeah,
Makes
yeah,
me worried when I see that type of stuff, So,
yeah.
well,
And
cool.
yeah, and it's, and I think that's great advice as well. Is yeah, I mean, I was super excited, but I was, being very cautious as well. Like, Vanessa, there's a reason that this is going to be at a 12% cap rate.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
let's figure that out. And when we did the drive-by, I'm like, okay, well, look at the community, look how it's not being kept up. So that was the first indicator. So
Yeah, that's it. Well, our time has come. I think we gotta let our folks get back to where it's at.
right.
But you know what? I think this has been awesome because we get to share with people some of the treats that we bring, some of the tricks that we have to uncover, and how we help people kind of navigate what they're going through so that they don't have a scary real estate transaction.
That's definitely even on Halloween, we still want to avoid the scary Halloween transaction. So thank
Yes.
you for spending time with us today, folks. If you would like, comment, and share down below, I'd greatly appreciate it. Any ideas that you can give us with regards to topics, we'd love to hear those, because what we want to do is want to provide value to our listeners. And so to our subscribers and listeners, thank you so much, and we'll catch up with you next week.
See you guys later. Have a good Halloween.